In 2025, let's not kid ourselves. It is not going to be a seller's market for the pre-loved industry. So many people have shared that they have overconsumed over the past couple of years, and 2025 is finally the year to declutter and to curate and to let go. But I'm just saying, you're not the only one entering this decluttering, curating cycle. This type of behavior is largely cyclical. So I think we are all somewhat on the same page, which means supply is going to be through the roof on the pre-loved market. I bet we're not just going to see lowball quotes. We're even going to see your bigger retailers decline less desirable items just to keep inventory moving, and demand is generally going to be low. I'll provide some caveats in a bit, but if decluttering your least used bags is still the game plan for 2025, just know it is a buyer's market. So congrats if you are looking to buy, and my condolences if you are looking to sell. And if you are straddling both sides of the market like I am, then here's hoping our wins equal out our losses. Welcome or welcome back to A Briefcase of Luxury, where we love to chat about all things related to life, learning, and luxury. While I have no intentions of quitting my day job as a business professor, I would love to continue to grow this channel. So thank you for being here today. There are lots of videos floating around about the impending luxury crisis that will come to a head in 2025 and possibly stretch on for a couple of years because luxury demand is falling. And unless you are one of the tippity top tier brands of luxury, aka Hermes, at this point, Hermes may be the only player left in that space. Like, you can hardly lump Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and Dior in that classification anymore, just based on their declining market value, alleged quality issues, and other controversies. But yes, Hermes is still one of the sole brands reporting healthy growth, while virtually every other brand is suffering or bracing for suffering to come. So while the luxury market itself isn't what I want to focus on today, I do think it's worth noting that this year, we will probably see this clear gap in demand where people are either going to focus their spending on brands like Hermes, or they are going to pull back and focus on your mid-tier brands instead, and your in-between mainstream standard luxury brands like Gucci, Burberry, Versace, those smack dab middle luxury brands, those are probably going to be hit the hardest. And I'm pretty much the same. I've found myself either wanting to spend $10 or $10,000 on a bag. Like, there's hardly any in between anymore, because if I want that $10,000 bag, if I want to prioritize Hermes and the Hermes journey, which I'm not, any Hermes bag that I buy from here on out is probably going to be pre-loved, but they're still stinking expensive, okay? And even then, I can't be messing around with no $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 bag, right? But if I'm feeling the itch and the 10K bag feels far, far away, then a bag for $100 or $500, for instance, those don't feel like they will take me too far off track. But like I said, I don't want to focus on the luxury market itself, but rather I want to talk about the pre-loved market and what 2025 is shaping up to look like for both buyers and sellers. So as someone who has become quite comfortable buying and selling on the pre-loved market, for better or for worse, I do want to move away from that cycle. I can tell you, I've gotten abysmal quotes this year. So in January of 2025 so far, for what I thought were major, solid, and sought after pieces, so we're talking Chanel and Hermes and Dior, the quotes were just straight up gross. They were depressing. And that's from your major pre-loved retailers like Fashion File, The Real Real, Rebag, etc. So the same pieces that I have gotten quotes for last year, those quotes have all gone down, which is kind of unusual because from past experience, just quotes with Fashion File, for instance, they seem to go up after 2 to 3 quotes, but maybe we've already hit that apex and now we're just seeing the downward slide. Now, I don't want to give away too much since I'll probably make a video about bags that have left or are soon to be leaving my collection. But I'm just going to go ahead and use my Chanel walk as an example since I've currently decided against letting her go, for now at least. But at one point, the highest quote I got for my walk, which is in excellent condition, by the way, was around $2,500. And that was last year, which is pretty darn good. And I would have essentially made most of my money back, minus tax, since I did buy this from the boutique maybe 3-ish years ago. My latest quote in January 2025 for my walk was $1,800. So essentially $700 less, or 30% less than my last quote a few months back. Nothing has changed about this bag. I actually have not used it since that last quote, which is another topic. But yeah, I want to say the trend was also similar with several of my other Hermes bags as well. Not that I was serious about selling them, I just wanted to get a sense of how much I would get if I were to have sold them. So moral of the story here, don't kid yourself. Bags are not investment assets. At best, they are very volatile, very poor performing assets. And by the way, The RealReal now has a buyout program for certain brands, which I have words to say about it, and not good ones, mind you. And I might make another video talking about my experience with this new buyout program, but honestly, it was not good. To say I was frustrated was an understatement. But in theory, I love the idea. It's about time they implemented a buyout program. And the buyout quotes I originally got were actually better than Fashion Files. But let's say you were wanting those funds to fund another Preloved purchase, then Fashion Files program is still a bit better because of the extra 10% back you get if you went the store credit route. But yeah, I probably will not be dealing with The RealReal moving forward, at least when it comes to selling, but I'll save that for another day. All that to say, people are currently wanting to sell and not to buy, and they are wanting to curate and not to continue to collect. And curating really is just a fancier way of saying we need to be more strategic and intentional about the things we currently own and the things we choose to bring home in the future. So maybe you're selling off 2 to 3 bags that you no longer use, or that you no longer love, or that you love but you don't use. Whatever the reason, you may be selling off multiple bags just to bring in maybe 1 bag for 2025, something that intentionally fills a hole in your handbag needs, either from a style or a color perspective, or it fills a hole in your handbag loving heart, right? Like selling off all your bags in order to fund the Birkin or Kelly of your dreams, right? Either way, we are generally in the mood to sell more, buy less, and buy better. Now, on the flip side, I will say pre-loved shopping, if you are currently shopping, has never been as exciting as it's been right now because the variety is amazing and the price is just, oh, it's so much nicer compared to what we're used to seeing. So yeah, on the bright side, it is a beautiful buyer's market right now. So how can you make the most of this market in 2025? I mean, if you are hell-bent on selling, then it is what it is. I don't know about you guys, but when I get it in my head that I want to sell, like I want to sell, period. Like when you have that spring cleaning, closet clear out mode activated, you just want to see the item gone, taken off the shelf. And if that's the mentality you can't shake, then go for it and accept the fact that the resale value isn't going to be fantastic. But in exchange, you do now have some freed up funds and hopefully some clarity and peace of mind. Or in some cases, maybe you just want to pull the bag off the shelf, take pictures of it, submit them for quotes, have it all packaged up if and when you do decide to sell it. And yeah, there is also that fear that prices will continue to drop, and maybe the next time you try to get a quote, the quote might be for even less. Or your third option is just to learn to really fall in love with it, right? If you loved the bag enough once to welcome it into your home, try to rekindle that love. On the flip side, I am not trying to create any FOMO, but if you are looking to buy, then boy, you better start looking because guys, I may already be changing my wish list up just as a response to the market because I want to be flexible enough to make room for potential rare bag drops because I had a feeling that those are going to be more prevalent in 2025. And trust me when I say those rare bag drops are dropping and at prices that are much, much better than they were in 2024. Bags that I have hearted and followed in the past are now available for like 1K, even up to 2K less than they were previously. So if there is a certain older release that once stole your heart, now may be a good time to start scheduling some routine checks on Fashion File, The RealReal, Rebag, eBay, etc. But the key here is still to be intentional and to keep that curating mindset because I can see this opening a new can of worms, right? Where you're just buying rare bags because they're a good deal. And all of a sudden, we're back to where we started with a closet full of unintentional purchases. So keeping that spirit of curation in mind, 2025 may be the year to find your special vintage or limited edition or discontinued piece. Just maybe nothing from the vintage Murakami collection from Louis Vuitton, okay? Because prices for the vintage pieces are still just wildly inflated. So let me know which side of the market you are on. Are you more focused on selling? If so, what are you letting go? And what do you plan to do with your freed up funds? Or are you focused on buying? Are you focused on the hunt? If so, what are you hunting for specifically? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, thank you for sticking around until the end. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you next time.